City at Christie's auction house, and the Beatles memorabilia sold for just jaw-dropping amounts.
Ringo's drum kit sold for $2 million. Just amazing.
Yes, so we're going to give you a quick rundown of what happened, and then we're going to show you the actual bidding. It was something to see. So if you're listening to us on podcast right now, you'll hear the bidding, and if you want to see the video too, look us up at Beatles Rewind on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the whole thing.
Beatles performance. The pinky ring showing here and obviously downstairs as well. Let's start, shall we, at $42,000, please. At $42,000, $45,000, thank you, Bonnie Brennan's bid. At $95,000, it is here, shakes her head, thank you for letting me know, 95 it is, and selling for $95,000. Sold for $95,000. Lot number 5 is next. This is Ringo Starr's first Ludwig drum kit. And it is the drum kit acquired by Ringo Starr in April of 1963 and used by him extensively as his sole drum kit for all Beatles appearances and recordings from the 12th of May 1963 to the 4th of February 1964. It was additionally used by Paul McCartney to record his first solo album, McCartney, in 1970. So downstairs is viewed. Where should we start? $800,000 to start for this, at $800,000, at $800,000. Anywhere else here at $800,000, at $800,000, $850,000, at $850,000. Alex, going to you. $1,000,009, thank you, 1886. Well done. Lot number 6, this is George Harrison's Maton Master Sound guitar used during the Beatles' summer 1963 UK tour and in Melbourne, Australia in circa 1960. $170,000 to start for this, at $170,000, at $170,000. At $170,000, $180,000, at $180,000, $190,000, $100,000, Zeta, 200, last chance, at $200,000. It's a pass at 200. Lot number 7 is next. This is the Beatles logo drumhead used for their historic debut appearance on the Ed Sullivan Show on the 7th of February, 1964. It bears that fantastic Beatles drop T logo and the Ludwig logo, shown so beautifully downstairs. Where should we start on this? Let's start, shall we please, at $500,000 for this only, at $500,000, at $500,000, $550,000, $600,000, at $650,000, $700,000, at $750,000 on. I mean, why wouldn't I offer that? At $2,250,000. At $2,250,000. $2,003,000. We had to try. At $2,300,000. It's on the telephone this time. At $2,003,000. Thank you for your bids. Thank you for your bids. $2,300,000 is right here. Maria, last chance. At $2,300,000 on the telephone. Rachel, your bid at $2,003,000 and selling. Last chance at $2,003,000. It's yours at $2,003,000. Well done, $2,300,000. 1854. Well done. Yeah, thanks. Lot number 8 is next. This is John Lennon's stage-plays Rose Morris Rickenbacker guitar used during the Beatles' Christmas shows in December 1964 to January of 1965. Lennon gave this guitar to Ringo Starr in 1968, as we have carefully outlined in our catalog. It is in very, very, very good condition. Lot number 8. Let's start, shall we please, at $400,000 already here at $400,000, $420,000, $450,000, at $450,000, $480,000, $500,000, at $500,000. Go $550. $500,000 is here. $550 is yours at $550,000. At $550,000, $600,000 competing bids all online. At $650,000, thank you. At $650,000. The bid's right here at $650. Anywhere else, $600,000, $700,000 is bid. All bids on Christie's Live, $750 it is. Anywhere else at $750,000. Online, you have it at $750,000. At $750,000. At $800,000. At $800,000 now. $800,000. $850,000. At $850,000. Are we going on? $850,000, 3047, it's yours at the moment, but $900,000 takes it away. At $900,000, $950,000, we're not through yet. $950,000 is bid. Right here at $950,000. Any more? At $950,000. At $1 million. Anywhere else? At $1 million. It is here on Christie's Live. Last chance to everyone in the room at $1 million. It is here and selling. Last chance online at $1 million. Sold $1 million. Paddled 3334. Lot number 9 is next. This is John Lennon's Gretsch 6120 Chet Atkins guitar, used during the recording sessions for the Beatles' 1966 single, Paperback Writer and Rain. Lennon gave this guitar to his cousin, David Birch, and this guitar, as Carrie Keane has so carefully noted, demonstrates John Lennon's rockabilly roots. So let's start on lot number 9 at $350,000 for this, please. At $350,000. At $350,000, $380,000, $400,000 against you online. At $400,000, $420,000, thank you. At $450,000, $480,000 is there online. $500,000 is against you. At $500,000, $550,000. At $1 million. Anyone else want to come in? At $1 million. Online bidder has the bid at $1 million. It is here online and selling for $1 million. Online bidder has this. Thank you very much for your bids. $1 million is here and selling. Paddle 3334. It is yours, selling to you for $1 million. Sold. Well done. Thank you. $1 million. Lot number 10 is next. This is the George Harrison's Gibson SG standard guitar, used extensively from 1966 to 1968. It's revered for its tone and its playability. Everyone loves this guitar. Let's start, shall we please, at $500,000 to start. At $500,000, $550,000, $600,000 already. At $600,000, $650,000 online. At $650,000. At $650,000. $700,000, thank you. Carry your bid at $700,000. Right, looks definitive this time. Thank you very much for your bids. $1,800,000. Sir, I'm checking in. At $1,800,000. Thank you for your bids. $1,800,000 is the bid. Christie's Live has this at $1,800,000 and selling $1,800,000. Last chance at $1,800,000. Sold at $1,800,000. 3334. Lot number 11 is next. This is John Lennon's Broadwood upright piano, on which he composed Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, A Day in the Life, and Being for the benefit of Mr. Kite, for the Beatles' landmark album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band in 1967. This was John Lennon's personal piano and resided in his home. Lot number 11, Let's start, shall we please, at $220,000, at $220,000, at $240,000 straight away, $260,000, at $280,000, $300,000, at $300,000. Still against the room at $300,000, $320,000, at $320,000. At $320,000. Anywhere else? At $350,000 online. Thank you. At $350,000. Online has the bid at $350,000. At $2,400,000. At $2,400,000. $2,500,000. Bonnie's bid at $2,500,000. $2,600,000. Look into the online bidder as well, just in case. At $2,600,000. Bonnie? 2.7? Yes? At $2,600,000 is still with Maria. At $2,600,000. Shaking your head, Maria, it now might be coming your way. $2,600,000. Last chance on this side and in the room, $2,600,000. It is yours at $2,600,000. Well done, at $2,600,000. Well done. Lot number 12. Lot number 12. This is the rare color UK Beatles fan club poster for the Beatles' 1967 album, Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Heart Club Band. Signed in blue ink by Lennon, McCartney, Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Showing downstairs and obviously right here on the screen. Let's start, shall we please, at $50,000, $55,000, $60,000 already here with me. At $60,000, $65,000, $70,000, sir. Against you. Do you want $75,000? At $70,000 is still here with me. $75,000 online. $80,000 is with me. I'll take $85,000 if you'd like it, sir. $80,000 is right here. At $80,000 with the absentee bidder at $80,000. At $85,000 on Christie's Live. Would you like $90,000? $90,000. Thank you. $40,000 online. Bidder in New York at $140,000. At $140,000. Straight here, online, at $140,000. Definitive, no. Definitive, anywhere else, $140,000. Online, it is coming to you at $140,000. Anywhere else in the room, last chance, sir, at $140,000. It is here and selling for $140,000. Sold online, thank you, $140,000. $32.76. Lot number 13, this is the Beatles custom prototype Vox Kensington guitar, very rare. There's in fact only one of these. Let's start, shall we please, at $200,000 to start. At $200,000, at $220,000, $240,000, at $240,000, $260,000, $280,000 against you in the room. At $280,000, $300,000 online. At $300,000, right here at $300,000. Anyone else? At $420, $450 in time. At $450. $30.57, it is your bid at the moment. $480 takes it away. Paddle $33.34. At $480. Would you like $5? At $480,000. $480,000 is the bid. You could round it up to $500 if you'd like it. $480 it is, and selling, fair warning, at $480,000. Anywhere else here in the room, $480, selling online for $480,000. Sold, $480,000. Paddle $33.34. Lot number 14. This is the Beatles' Paul McCartney's handwritten lyrics for Hey Jude. The 10 lines in black ink on a plain sheet of paper, written out by McCartney as a prompt for recording purposes for EMI Studios on the 30th of July, 1968. Let's start, shall we please, at $320,000 for this, at $320,000, at $320,000, $350,000, $380,000, at $380,000. Anywhere else here at $380,000, at $380,000. Looking to the room at $380,000. 400, thank you, at 400,000. Alex's bid at $400,000. At $750,000 to the online bidder. I knew it. 800 is here. Alex, your bid at 8. Anywhere else? Online, 800 is the bid. You need to give me 50 at $800,000. Mr. Rodder's bid, 800 it is. Fair warning to the online bidder. It is at $800,000. Last chance in the room and selling $800,000. It is here with you, Alex, and selling for $800,000. Sold for $800,000. Thank you. 1885. Well done. Lot number 15 is next. This is the Beatles' Ringo Starr's snare drum from his second Ludwig drum kit from 1964. It was not part of the kit that we sold earlier, but that's why Jim bought it. Lot number 15. Let's start, shall we please, at $30,000 for this already, at $30,000, $32,000, at $32,000, at $32,000, $35,000. Welcome, Texas, at $32,000, $35,000, at $38,000. Thank you. Online at $75,000. Natalie's bid at $75,000. Looking to the rest of the room. Anywhere else here? $75,000 it is. Natalie, it is yours at $75,000. Fair warning, and selling for $75,000. Sold, $75,000, 1836. 1836. Yes? Thank you, Nick. Lot number 16. Showing here on the screen and obviously downstairs as viewed, this is the affidavit filed by Paul McCartney. This rostrum. An affidavit filed by Paul McCartney to break up the Beatles with John Lennon's handwritten and very personal annotations from 1970. Showing downstairs as viewed. Let's start the bidding, shall we please, at $80,000 already, at $80,000. At $80,000, $85,000, $90,000 is already here with me at $90,000. At $90,000, $95,000, $100,000 is here. Online has the bid at $100,000. Anywhere else? At $100,000. Absentee bidder has the bid at $100,000. $110,000. Welcome, Nevada. $120,000 is against you. At $120,000. Would you like $130,000? $120,000 it is here. At $120,000. $130,000. New York, welcome. At $130,000. I'm out. $130,000 it is. Nevada, come back at $130,000 is in New York. Online at $130,000. Anywhere else here in the room? $130,000 is the bid and selling for $130,000. Last chance, selling here at $130,000. Online, thank you, $130,000. You are paddle 3276. Lot number 17 is next. This is Paul McCartney's left-handed, of course, Yamaha bass guitar used extensively on stage and in the studio from 1979 to 1984. $120,000 to start for this at $120,000, $130,000 at $130,000. Anywhere else here at $130,000, $140,000, $150,000 at $150,000 at $180,000. Anywhere else? $180,000 it is. It is selling here. Maria's bid at $180,000. Last chance at $180,000. Maria, well done. $180,000, 1859.
I mean, that drum kit sold for $2,393,000.
Which briefly set a world record, right?
Yes. For like 5 minutes, it was the most expensive drum set ever. But then in the very next lot, it was absolutely crushed by Ringo's 1964 Ed Sullivan Show drumhead.
Wait, just the drumhead?
Just the head. A single piece of stretched plastic went for $2,881,000.
Wow. So a piece of plastic sold for almost $500,000 more than the entire drum kit. How does that make any economic sense?
I guess they aren't pricing it as a musical tool anymore.
No, they're pricing the cultural real estate. I mean, 73 million people saw that Drop-T logo in their living rooms. It's the visual anchor of the British invasion.
So you aren't buying a piece of a drum, you're buying the defining symbol of 1960s pop culture.
Yeah, exactly. Which brings us to another fascinating sale, exploring a totally different kind of value. Paul McCartney's band-dissolving affidavit.
The literal piece of paper that legally ended the dream.
Exactly. And that pulled massive numbers, too, which, makes me wonder about the timing of all this. It's 2026. Why is this market peaking right now?
Well, how much of this resurgence do you think is being actively driven by Hollywood? Because, we have to talk about the upcoming Sam Mendes movies.
Oh, they are entirely connected. Mendes is directing 4 separate theatrical films, one from each band member's perspective.
Right, introducing the mythology to a completely new audience. You've got massive stars like Barry Keoghan playing Ringo and Paul Mescal as McCartney.
Exactly. And, Mescal actually playing the bass, or, well, at least trying to.
Yeah, that cinematic storytelling sparks a massive emotional connection with a younger generation.
Definitely. It amplifies the relevance of the historical artifacts. The movies push the legacy forward, while these physical items anchor the mythology in reality.
Which leaves you with a thought to mull over. As this new generation grows up experiencing the band primarily through, highly polished digital biopics, how will they value these physical artifacts in the future?
There's a brilliant question to ponder.
Will a wooden piano or a stretched drum head still hold the same magic? Or will the digital myth eventually outshine the physical reality?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Well, thanks for joining us today. Whenever you feel like knowing more about the Beatles, visit us at BeatlesRewind.com. It's the Beatles, all day, every day, 8 days a week. Cass, we'll do it again tomorrow.
Right. I will absolutely be here. Have a great day.
And until next time, when you listen,
your mind conducts its own symphony.